Hi, it's Daisy McCarty again, founder of Brand Message Clarity, and I'm really glad you got to go through my free masterclass on how to nail your brand message and supercharge your business growth, because it's going to set you up perfectly to get the most out of the training that we're doing today. And this one is called Leading Your Buyers to the Yes. And this is all about mapping your buyer personas onto the buyer journey. And if you've created your buyer personas, you know those are the detailed written examples of your ideal clients so that you can engage them with your marketing message. And those buyer personas should include who they are, who influences them, their personality and how they take in information, what's bothering them currently, the key benefits they'll enjoy with your solution, what they need to know to make a decision, and what's holding them back or their objections. So the next step after you've developed your buyer personas is mapping those buyer personas onto the buyer journey. And that journey is the one they take from not knowing anything about you or your brand to becoming your customer. And it's a step-by-step process, and knowing where you are in that process is going to make your marketing much more powerful. But getting it wrong can have some serious consequences. So if you don't get it right, your audience can end up being overwhelmed, confused, bored, or even offended. What are the phases or steps in the buyer journey? You can break that down a lot of different ways, but I like to keep it simple. So you've got awareness, consideration, and decision. In the awareness stage, they're just being introduced to your brand. In the consideration stage, they're doing research, looking at their options, and considering your competitors as well. In the decision stage, they're looking for details of what it's going to be like to work with you. During the awareness stage, you need to spark curiosity or intrigue, and you also need to establish credibility and rapport. With your core brand message, your tagline or slogan comes into play here, and you need to also have a very strong value proposition. You can also start using the key benefits of your solution to agitate their pain points or to heighten their desire to capture an opportunity. And you need to grab attention with something that says, this is a priority, pay attention to it now. When it comes to marketing, you can capture awareness with paid ads, with organic SEO, or it could be high-level, top-of-the-funnel content that's useful to your customers but not trying to sell them anything. It just gets them thinking about the challenge they're trying to solve or the opportunity they're trying to capture. And it helps them to think about your brand and build positive associations with it. During the consideration stage, they need to understand what makes you unique, different, and better. So this is also a time when they may have questions that you can answer. It's a great time to establish authority and to educate and inform. With your core brand message, this is the time to bring out those key differentiators. Your unique selling proposition is also critical at this stage. And when you look at the buyer persona and the what they need to know section, this is the time to address those key questions that they have. And you can do that with things like white papers, thought leadership articles, and videos. During the decision stage, they need to have all of their objections addressed, and they need to have all the blanks filled in. So this is the time to reassure them and solidify trust. And it's also the time to offer proof and to dig into details. With your core brand message, those top 4 or 5 takeaways should help address some of those concerns, and then you can drill down from there. And in the buyer persona, this is the part about what's holding them back. And often that has to do with experiences they've had with your competitors in the past. And that's why it's so important to do your competitor research so you understand what they've been going through. And in terms of marketing collateral, this is the time to bring out your case studies, because they not only establish trust and credibility, but they give your buyers a way to visualize what it's like to work with you and what the outcomes can be. Now, for those of you who are not doing content marketing or SEO or paid ads, the principles still apply, even if you're using networking and direct sales to grow your business. So in that case, people are coming to your website because they've either met you in person or online and they want to learn more. So the initial personal contact that you have is when you're building awareness and rapport. And then their next step is usually to go look at your LinkedIn profile. So still connecting, building rapport there. But when they hit your website, that's when they're looking for more information. So they're in the consideration stage. So you would use your website to establish authority and to educate and inform. But if you're driving traffic directly to your website without any personal contact up front, so if you're using those paid ads, you're using SEO, that's different because your buyer is at a different stage when they first encounter your website. So your advertising and your website messaging must be great at establishing rapport up front and drawing the visitor in, because you haven't had that personal contact that gives you a chance to do that yet. So if you don't establish rapport on your website, you're going to lose them before they have a chance to get to know your brand. Now, the consideration stage can include the content on your website where they drill down to look at different pages. And that's why you want to make sure the navigation on your website is really easy, because you want to make that a smooth journey for them. And if you're using email marketing, this is also a great time to look at that as the consideration stage, where you're taking them step by step and nurturing them. Of course, you want to be able to see whether they've opened the email, whether they've clicked on a link within it, so you know what the next step is. So you can keep moving them down that journey without skipping any steps. And then there's the decision stage. And this is usually where things get more hands-on again, with person-to-person contact. And this is where a lot of businesses jump the gun. Okay, they want to go to the stage before the buyer is ready. So you wouldn't put a case study in front of someone who is at the awareness stage when they're just asking, who are you and what do you do? That's a brand awareness question. You would save the case study for when they're asking questions like, how do I know that you can deliver results for me? Because that's when they're making a decision. And this is also why you typically don't want to get into objection handling on your website. So if 90% of your customers don't have a particular objection, you don't want to address the 10% that do, because all you're doing is exposing the other 90% to that objection and creating doubt and confusion that wasn't there before. So why don't you just dump all the information on them at once and let them sort through it? When you feed customers information bit by bit, it's not because you're trying to conceal something. It's because you're communicating at a pace that helps them fully understand your brand and what you offer, so they can make an informed and empowered decision. So you want to serve them and not overwhelm them. Here's what happens when you get this wrong. You give people reasons to say no that are based on incorrect assumptions. So I want to give you a quick example of a client that I worked with recently where this made a big difference. The client is the founder of a private school that's dedicated to helping self-directed learners. And this is a model of schooling that's been around for about 100 years, but it's not well known. There are only a handful of schools in the United States that follow this model. So there was a lot of opportunity there to educate and inform parents about the philosophy and about how everything worked. But their website had so much information on it that it was completely overwhelming. So what we did was strip away about 80% of the content on the website and revamp the rest of it so it was very specifically targeted to addressing her buyer persona that she's trying to target in the awareness stage. So once they hit the website, then they can call and they can get more information. They can move into the consideration stage. They can come in and actually see the school, talk to the mentors there, and ask all the questions they need to, get all their information, all the questions answered, and make a decision. But we're making sure that they're not overwhelmed when they hit the website. And within 30 days of getting that website revamped, even running just the same ads that they were before to the website, there was a complete turnaround, 180 on the quality and caliber of the prospects that were calling the school. And it was exactly the people that she wanted to be talking to. So here are the questions that you can ask about your buyer personas that help you build that buyer journey roadmap. Do my buyers know they have a problem? Do they know there is a solution? Do they know about my solution? If so, how do they know about it? If not, what is the first contact they will have? How is that piece of content or that conversation creating a positive experience of brand awareness? How is it sparking curiosity? What's the next step for my buyers to begin considering my brand as a solution? How can I inform and educate them through that step? What do they need to know before they make a decision? And how am I answering those questions and objections? As you've probably guessed, this is part marketing and part sales, and this is why it is so important for marketing and sales teams to be on the same page with the same core brand message and with a clear understanding of where the handoff is in the buyer journey between marketing and sales, because inconsistency in this area is just as damaging as trying to rush the process. So on the buyer journey, you're leading the way, but you're letting your customers set the pace. Here's my invitation to you today. If you're ready to get your brand message on target, really nail down those buyer personas, implement them effectively in your marketing and sales efforts. I'm going to open up my calendar to you. You can scroll down and click the button below or coming up on the next screen to book a time for us to talk about how to move your business forward. I look forward to speaking with you. Have a successful and inspired day.